background?
Ruben created this really wonderful environment.
Day one.
You know, even with the confines of zombie movie, they were maintaining kind of this reality. It was just incredible.
Marker. You start with the script, and then you kind of envision it, but it really comes to life once you get the production designer and the DP involved and make it look spectacular. And basically, as a director, you just sit back and watch.
Yeah, it's great. But first and foremost is really creating a universe where there's no traffic, no people, no civilization that is active. That's a lot of production work.
Our production designer has done a great job of just making the world seem vacant. I got super lucky in finding Maher Ahmed. I don't know how he does it.
I'm Maher Ahmed, the production designer.
My different sets are like children. Some of them are prettier than others, some of them are more well-behaved than others, but I kind of love them all.
What the hell are we doing?
Just humor him, trust me.
At our Kemosabe Indian trading post, I went and did a lot of historical research on what these places look like. The trick with that set is the whole place needs to be just smashed apart. So I developed a design for the shelves that is one that lends itself to being busted up. And our set decorator, Gene Sardina, has just gotten hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pottery, crocks and pots and stuff to break up, and pictures and all kinds of things.
And action. Doesn't that feel good?
Breaking stuff appeals to the innermost kid in everybody, and they just get started and nobody cares. The place is abandoned and they just have a lot of fun being destructive, but it's a benign destruction in this world of just incredibly malignant destruction that surrounds them.
Time to nut up or shut up.
The grocery store he built from scratch, there was nothing in it. It was completely vacant before we got there.
We're rolling.
We had originally thought about going into a real grocery store, and it's just not a practical kind of thing. We would have destroyed a lot of the stock, and it would have been expensive to buy the place out.
And action.
We found a closed grocery store that we dressed from scratch, and it was a huge amount of work. And we brought in just row after row after row, shelf after shelf after shelf of food products, and we did some tricky things.
So we are here in the fake supermarket to film the fake movie about fake dead people. And inside the fake freezers, you'll notice that there are not actual products, but pictures of products, which are probably more nutritious than the products.
We made up dead meat with foam. Painters painted it like it was all moldy and rotten. We wrapped it up in trays and stuff, so it was a lot of fun. We had really only one set that you would call a set kind of set, and that was Columbus's apartment, which is a flashback to his first encounter with a zombie. That set was, I think, a good choice for us to make, because there was a very particular set of actions that Ruben wanted to have happen, and he had storyboarded it very carefully.
We're in the middle of shooting our 406 sequence, and these are all the boards for the action that we need to pull off. But we have it all figured out. It's just now a matter of getting each of the angles and crossing them off as we go along.
It was apparent that this would best be done by building the set, because he could get all of the angles he wanted and the particular action he wanted.
Right. Ah! Shit, I'm so sorry. Ah!
Good. Let's have the blood.
I designed the set around the storyboards, and I think Ruben was very happy with it, and Jesse was very happy with it in terms of not just the way it looked, because production design is not just about the way things look, but it's also about accommodating the action, which is very, very important. And I like to think that this set accommodated the action very well in terms of telling the story of what happened in this space and revealing the character of, you know, Columbus, one of our main characters.
Great cut, good, got it. The scene that just blew my mind was the highway scene where Columbus and Tallahassee first meet. We had 75 cars and 30 wrecks and a boat on another car, and just the scale of the destruction and devastation was serious production value.
This particular post-apocalyptic landscape is one more of abandonment than of outright destruction.
We don't see a lot of bodies. It's as if everyone just kind of got up and left, or got up and eaten.
Oh my God, that makes you sick.
It's a not very populated world where these guys can drive through and maybe not see a zombie for 400 miles, but then in places like LA, where there's a greater density, there'll be a lot more zombies.
Come on.
We're not that deep into the zombies taking over. It's only like a couple months, I think, is what we decided from when the zombies first appeared. It's not like there's a lot of buildings falling down or vegetation growing over buildings, but it is one of the spookiness that comes with abandonment and the fear that comes from not knowing what is around any corner.
You have just survived the zombie apocalypse and drove halfway across the country. Where are you gonna go?
I'm going to Pacific Playland! Woo!
Zombieland was originally conceived as an hour-long television pilot. So it ended with our girls, Emma and Abby, stealing the guy's car and driving off into the sunset. It was very much a cliffhanger. When we expanded it into a feature, clearly that was not going to work anymore.
They were struggling with how to figure out the ending, and I pitched this whole amusement park idea, and I think they really responded to it.
Suddenly, the amusement park became the anchor for our movie. It became a sandbox to play in terms of writing action.
Holy shit.
We shot in Valdosta, Georgia, 4 hours away, which was a hike. But it's a smaller park, and it gave us a much better density of look.
Well, Valdosta was a bit of a surprise in that we thought, you know, hey, South Georgia, it's a swamp. It's the Okefenokee Swamp. So it's going to be a little bit muggy. We brought our shorts, we brought our mosquito repellent, and found ourselves working nights from about 6 p.m. until 6 a.m. every night in 20-degree weather. And so suddenly we had to ditch the mosquito repellent and put on our Mount Everest Himalaya gear. And the locals were fantastic. These people were dressed as zombies in light clothing, standing out in 20 degrees all night, and my hat was off to our zombies.
Yeah, it was great to shoot at the amusement park. It was, you know, like a contained location for 3 weeks, so that you were able to get used to the location a little bit. It also created this really wonderful environment to kind of have this game of running from the zombies.
That was really good, though. You looked really scared when you were coming down. It looked crazy. There was just like nothing but zombies at the base.
While we're on the blast off, in the back of the ride, it blows air at you, and it was like something like 27 degrees outside.
You had to just be stuck like 7 stories up on this ride in these harnesses for like an hour at a time. It got pretty cold, I'm not gonna lie.
It kind of helps though to look upset when you're freezing cold.
I really liked Valdosta, but I gotta say it was kind of, it's hard shooting nights. I don't think it's the way we're meant to be. In fact, I know it's not. Yeah, it's kind of rough. The night shooting it's not good for a fella like me, a fragile little fella who needs to sleep.
Originally, we were supposed to shoot the amusement park at the end of the schedule, but due to the various considerations, it was put at the beginning. And I was so afraid of that when it was originally changed.
Shooting out of context is tough just because you have to think about like, where would I be at this point when I've already experienced this, which I've never experienced before.
I was thinking, oh my God, we're shooting the end of the movie first. Like, I know this is gonna be stupid.
It just seemed like there was no way we'd be able to get through it or recover from. But as soon as we kind of got in there and found our way, we did pretty well.
Lock it up.
Roll it.
The thing about the theme park was that this is the only time we're really being, you know, overtaken by this many zombies, and I think the reaction would be the same whether we shot it first or last, you know, just because it's such a scary situation that we don't really endure at any other point in the movie.
The end of the movie is so different from everything else. There's not really any talking. There's no dialogue. It's like, there.
There!
Run.
Come on! Hurry!
Help. Oh my God. You know, it's like, there's no scenes really.
It made me streamline what I was doing, like things that would have been problematic if we started with just scenes where we're acting instead of doing like the action stuff. I was gonna try this weird kind of stuttering affectation, and I think I might have gone the wrong direction.
For the actors and me, it was nice to really work on the characters and figure out who they're playing so that when we come back and do the stuff that really matters, I think everyone has a good sense of each other. I have a good relationship with them, and so I think it actually ended up being really beneficial.
The fact that we started doing that stuff, it helped me get into my character's mindset without trying some crazy shit that would have just been a disaster, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I feel like I couldn't be better taken care of as a first-time director, and just getting lucky enough to work with the talented people that made this movie so much better than it would have been if left to my own devices.
I thought it looked great.
Yeah. Let's say we got it. Okay.
The interesting thing about working in the movie business is that it is a collaborative effort.
Straight up. You got it.
What is brilliant about working with other people is ideas are constantly flowing and bouncing, and I like to say that sometimes a bad idea is great because it triggers a good idea that would not have been triggered if somebody didn't say something stupid.
That'll do, pig.
That's the worst goodbye I've ever heard.